There's one important angle to the carbon tax that I think we need to discuss right now that it is brought in on April 1st. No, not an April Fool's joke, the real deal. The 4 provinces that do not want it, Ontario, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and New Brunswick, are having it forced upon them. All while there's a Saskatchewan court reference question underway that may or may not prove whether it's even legal for Justin Trudeau to do the darn thing in the first place. But that question right now has to do with a lot of the spin that the Liberal government is selling you on. The question of whether or not it will make you richer. It's a claim they make. They say, we're going to make polluters pay. And that's a debatable statement in and of itself, but we're going to make polluters pay and put money in your pockets.
There is an imperative to put a price on pollution, and if there are costs associated with for average families, we will more than compensate those families for those costs.
Well, how are they going to do that? They talk about this rebate as if you're going to get the money back and then you're going to get a premium, so you're going to get even more money back. How do they calculate that, though? That was a part that was lost from the conversation. Well, here's how they're actually going to do it. There's going to be a line on your income tax return, and you check off that line to say whether or not you are claiming it. And then based on the province you live on, and whether or not you have a spouse and whether or not you have kids, they determine the set amount that you get back. That's right, it is a set amount. See, here's the part that they're not really advertising to you. For you to actually get more money back, you would need to know how much you're paying in the carbon tax. How are they going to know that as the government? They're not. How are you going to know that? Quite frankly, you're not. I had one guy write to me on social media. He said, hey, it's not rocket science. You just need to know how much gas you're paying on average or keep your bills and then figure it out that way. Because Catherine McKenna's conceded, yes, it's going to increase the price of gas 4.5 cents per liter. Well, hold on a second, though. It's not that easy. The carbon tax, yes, it will directly affect the price of gas and of natural gas as well for home heating. It'll also affect virtually all of the economic activity we do, all the consumer products, many, many examples. The most obvious one is that there are all these transportation companies that ship goods back and forth. They are seeing their prices increase with the added fuel costs. That will get passed on to the consumer. How do you calculate that? That would be incredibly, incredibly difficult. To the gentleman's point that it's not rocket science, you're right. Rocket science is probably easier to do the calculations they do in that field than to do this calculation. How much you are actually shelling out. So how does the government know whether or not you're actually getting more money back? Well, they've just done their own calculations to try to determine exactly what they think the averages will be. But can you really trust those numbers? Can you trust those calculations? We don't know the work that went into them. We don't know the whole backstory on it. They haven't provided their calculations because, of course, they're not even sure the ramifications of this. I mean, you can't just add a new tax to the economy and instantly know how it's going to be absorbed into all these different sectors. So probably the maximum you can get in Ontario is about $337. That's if you're married and you have 2 kids and you have something called the rural premium. So if you live outside of a city, you're going to get an extra 10%. Why is that? Well, I guess they're acknowledging that people in rural communities are going to be driving more, but hang on a second. Are you saying that people in rural areas are only driving 10% more than people in urban areas? It's just not true. So we have no way of verifying this statement at all. One of the biggest claims that the Liberals are using to justify all of this, to justify why we should just be quiet and take it and accept it as a fait accompli, just can't be proven. And they're the ones who talk a lot about evidence-based policy. Go figure.